Welcome everybody to our daily Sacred Self here, brand new on Facebook Live in our Sacred Self Healing community. Welcome. This is a public link. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm an energy healer, energy coach. Many of you know me, and here in this daily Sacred Self, myself and at least 10 other facilitators are doing 25-minute meditations together, sharing and contemplating about these deeper aspects of, well, life, I want to say. And many of us share some kind of energetic sensitivity or energetic awareness. So many of our topics here are about energetic perception. Welcome. This safe space for sharing and voluntary vulnerability. Wonderful. I can see some of you here on the screen. This is the reason why we've switched from YouTube and Skype to here, so that we can be in real-time connection with another. It's beautiful. So we have a chat here. Some of you might be familiar with the Facebook app. Remember that when your microphone is not muted, that we all hear your background noises. So gentle reminder, when we do the meditation, I just want you to know that it would be best to mute yourself for that, because when we go into this deeper place together, it's a bit disturbing, to have all these background noises. So wonderful to see you guys all. So today is the first time we're doing this on Facebook Live, and we had a few things that we still had to test. And therefore, I arrived a little earlier, right after the YouTube Live, and we started talking about certain things already. Kamo shared, because I asked how everybody is doing energetically, how they're feeling right now. And Kamo shared something that is very, very common right now, and that is this, she called it niggly feeling. Okay, we've boiled it down to something like a nervousness, like an anxiousness, like a part of us anticipating something. Perhaps even these are now my words. Like almost like a looking for something, a seeking, like sort of expecting the next the next thing. Is not. That's what it feels like, right? It's like we're on standby for like a big bang about to happen. Right, and this can put our system, our physical, our emotional, our mental and spiritual system into a place of stress. Okay, so I don't know if niggly is a particularly Australian, New Zealand phrase. As a non-native English person, I fully understand the word though, and I feel the same way. Yeah, so I think this is something that connects us all. What are some of the other feelings and sensations that you are struggling with in times like this? This is an open discussion and connecting before we go into the meditation. What are some of the things that you struggle with the most at this very moment in time, where we all feel ourselves kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place? How does this work for you? What are some of the things that on a daily level that you struggle with the most? Who wants to share? I know what I struggle with. Besides the overall niggliness, my biggest problem is probably not being sure if I can trust in my inner guidance. Questioning my inner guidance, even questioning if there is a future, if this is the end of humanity right now. Something like that. Yes, and Linda, you're absolutely on spot there, maintaining focus, trust, and allowing. Yeah. What is it that we try to focus on when we find it difficult to hold our focus? Linda or anybody, the nervousness that we've talked about prior is also something that pulls us away from focus. But try to go a step deeper here. What is it that you're trying to focus on? You say your truth. What about the others? What about you guys? I mean, when we experience stress, it obviously becomes more difficult for us to focus. But what is our focus? What are we actually focusing on? Or think we need to focus on? For me to say that I want to focus on my truth, why this is my overall alignment, but if I'm truly, truly honest with myself, for the most part, most of the day, I am focusing on, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. Okay, so it's not necessarily untruth, yeah. The reason why I'm calling the opposite of truth untruth is because just because it's not entirely true doesn't mean it's a lie, right? But there are distractions. So now we have stress, niggles, and distractions. Feel into that. Yes. Hey.
So my focus, going just a little bit deeper, is to really try and focus on calming my nervous system.
So
There is this electric irritation I feel even when I get up right now.
So it's a physical thing. It's literally a physical thing, like your nervous system. So I understand what you mean when you say electric. Yeah, it's like there's well, it's a tension for one, right? It comes with a tension, but it can also be something that just feels like I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Cindy, but is it like a buzzing or
Yeah, it's an irritation.
an irritation?
Like, just something not scratching. I can feel it intruding on my nervous system
Okay.
and my physical body.
Mm-hmm.
So I work to try and calm that.
And that's always smart, when you notice that like say overall energies, I call them collective energies, when they affect your body in a way. Most people cannot actually differentiate it. This is a big part, by the way, of this sacred self-healing training, is to be able to differentiate. If these distractions, if they're primarily coming from within our body, yeah, or if they come from thoughts such as fear thoughts, or if they come from emotions. These are completely different realms of us. They play into another, and this is why it's sometimes so difficult for us, and I guess this comes with stress and with this distraction, that it becomes increasingly more difficult for us to discern, right? Is it actually my body? Yeah, or is it my emotions that are creating the tension in my body? Yeah, or is it my thoughts that are affecting my emotions that is then affecting my body? This is the problem that we all have with our so-called body mind. Yeah, it's this interconnection between body, mind, and emotion, which, and you guys are living proof of this, doesn't always coincide with our spiritual alignment or our intellectual understanding or even our intention, right? We all want to be Zen all day, right? But the reality is, if we're lucky, we make it once a week, or Sunday afternoon or something. Yeah, so there's the body mind has sort of its own life. Yeah, and you've heard me say this many times. This has to do with the nervous system. This has to do with our the sort of the current, yeah, the electrical current that runs through us, which is primarily the nervous system. That is what can influence our emotions, what can influence our thoughts. And this realization is where most people already have difficulties with. It took me personally a long time to figure this out. Like simple stuff, like if I don't sleep enough, yeah, then I'm more nervous, I'm more electrified, or have more niggles. Yeah. So sometimes I get so used to not sleeping enough, because that's sort of my big imbalance in my life, that I don't realize anymore that it's this end. And I have this reset night where I fall asleep at like 7 p.m. and I sleep all the way to 7 a.m., right? And I got 12 hours of sleep and I feel like $1,000,000. Has anybody ever experienced that? I mean, not maybe necessarily with sleep, but one of the things that actually help you, yeah, and when they happen, it's like, oh my God, I'm a completely different person. I'm a different person when I am in balance, when I am not distracted, when I am not nervous, when I am not stressed. And so Annette is texting here in the chat. Focus on the basic stuff. The fundamental, simplest truths of all. Yeah? Linda, you said earlier you have a hard time focusing. I want to add to that, you have a hard time focusing on the fundamental stuff. Yeah? The fundamental stuff can be things such as sleep or drink or food, but it can also be, let's say, if I have money issues. Who of you has ever gone through money issues and experienced how that can actually put your body and your everything in you on hold almost? Yeah. So yes, of course we can sleep more, but is it going to resolve our money problems? No. The clarity to understand what it actually is that is out of balance, that is the one that we need to focus on. For me, it is the fogginess around sleep. Yeah, even though I know it, my intellectual mind knows it. There is a part of me that's my ego, right? That says, I'm okay with 3 hours of sleep. I can do this. I'm an energy healer. I can meditate this away. That's my specialness. That's my ego that says that. Yeah. When I have money problems, more sleep, more food, more talking to other people, or more ruminating about the money problems, is that going to help? No. And yet we keep doing it. So what it is that we need the clarity to focus on the one thing that could actually help with it. Right? So what is that for you? What is the simple, fundamental thing that eludes you when you're distracted, when you're nervous, when you're stressed? What have you so far already found out about yourself? What's it for you?
For me, I have to say it's that constant regurgitating of stuff. And what helps me to, I suppose, get out of that is
Okay.
get it through the system to some extent. Yeah, because it gives me really gives me that moment to, I suppose, work through
So you've identified that, let's say, when you're nervous, that you have a higher tendency basically to ruminate, to regurgitate. You did this motion here. So I am assuming, I'm assuming you're talking about your head. Yeah. Okay. So you've identified that the state of nervousness, the state of stress and distraction mainly takes place in your head. This isn't the same for everybody, but this is how you walk yourself through this. It can also change. I mean, sometimes it's the other way around. A lot of people who get a little sick, for example, where their body actually does something, yeah, they start getting nervous and fearful thoughts as a response or reaction to the body not functioning. So in your case, it starts in the head. It starts in the head, and that's how you can identify that you are basically not in your center, if you will, right? Because you're in your head. And you've also found out that if you walk it off, if you then switch to the physical, yeah, if you give yourself something like a physical routine, in your case, walking, that it becomes easier for you to let go of those ruminating thoughts. Okay. How is the mechanism for others? This isn't the same for all of us. Or is it the same for all of you? Okay. So which one was there first for you? The emotion or the mind? Is the emotion coming up first and then you have thoughts about the emotion, or is the thought there and then you have an emotion to the thought? Yeah. So that last bit that you shared here, think about it again, or feel into it, better say. So you said that first it's a bit of a sensation and an emotion. So it's you call this inner, okay? You call this inner. So inner, you call this inner. Cindy, that's important, okay? Because Kamal basically said something completely different. She says she's in her head, okay? And for Carmel, inner is when she thinks something. For you, inner is when you feel something in your body, maybe your gut or your stomach or something like that, right? And that determines how you feel, right? Whether it came from the outside originally or from the inside doesn't really matter. Because quite frankly, a thought, in your case, would be something that comes from the outside. Because your I, your presence, what you feel as inner is more this conglomerate out of your physical and your emotional, your body and your emotions. And so thoughts, would be the things that then come in, and then obviously the whole thing starts looping, starts cycling, right? This is interesting for you guys to actually see, because when somebody says something to you, think about it. Feel into that situation when somebody says something to you. How do you hear or perceive what the other person says first? I mean, we all hear it with our ears, obviously. Annette is sharing. Annette experiences it as an emotion first, and then the mind. Then comes the thought. There is no right or wrong. This is all about self-exploration. That's actually how you have to, work with yourself. The reason for that being, if you want to know what to focus on, or say what you need to focus on, first you're going to have to know what the dynamic is in you, okay? So if I have problems, emotional problems, or scheduling problems, or whatever problems, okay, I know for myself, all I need to do is take a nap, and then it will be easier. That's how simple that is. And guess how many times a day I do it? 0 times. Okay? For me, it's a physical problem. For Annette, it's an emotional. And Cindy, for you, it seems to be both at the same time. Annette, it is possible that it is the same for you, that it is a physical and emotional thing. When somebody says something to you, can you differentiate your emotions from your body? You think you can do that? Or is this one? Somebody says something to you. Like say, somebody criticizes you.
And then I can feel it in my body. It's an emotion.
So you feel it in your body informs you, there's a criticism, oh my God. And your emotions go, oh no. And then your thoughts go, oh, I'm so bad. Is that the order in which it goes for you? Okay, body, emotion, thought. Great. And obviously then it all goes like that, right? Then, yes, when we're in that nervous stress place, then it's all a big mishmash. Okay. Who has different dynamics? Cindy, since you were here a minute ago, is it the same for you? Is it body first? Somebody says something mean to you, or something that could be criticizing or threatening.
Body first, depending on what emotion I'm dealing with, it will either process through my mind or it'll process through my body. If something big, it'll go straight to my mind and bypass the emotion.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to sort it out through my mind instead of actually
Mm-hmm.
like,
If it's a big emotion, it's like, Cindy, why did you do that? You made a mistake.
then I immediately go to the mind and
It wasn't me, kind of like,
this is why I did this.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So justifications and stuff. This is wonderful, guys. This is it. Who has slightly different variations of that theme? Carmel, since you were here earlier, when somebody says something like that to you, how does that go for you? The order in which you are affected.
Body, emotion, mind.
Body, emotion, mind.
Sometimes, if it's a big one, it just whips through body emotion, and then just like
And then it gets stuck in the mind. Cindy's gets stuck in the emotion. Annette, where do you get stuck? Where does it linger? Linger, like where does it stay? In your mind. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. For Becky, it is the physical, the emotional, and then the mind. The mind makes judgments about the physical and the emotional, and then the cycle continues. Yeah. This is a huge insight for all of you. And here's why. Where do you need to address it? That focus that Linda mentioned in the beginning, that she has a hard time maintaining. What do you need to focus on? Does it make sense to focus on the mind? No, does that make sense to focus on the mind, Becky?
Well, if I'm having
Have you ever tried to command your body to not be nervous through a thought. It's like, I accept that you're nervous. I accept that you're nervous, and now stop being nervous. Has that ever worked?
It has
Oh, no, it's not effective. It helps to understand things, like to understand certain connections between the nervous system and the mind, so some knowledge helps, okay, to recognize that. But when it comes to in the moment, yeah, the focus in the moment, what do we need to focus on? Okay, let me take your hypotheses here. Annette says the emotions. What happens if you focus on the emotions?
I try to feel out what it is, just literally accept that it's there because it doesn't help me to put it down on my own. Why this is there, since it is there. So I try to acknowledge it.
So this acknowledging is again something that comes from the head. Syria is saying something similar, but it's just a little more. You feeling. You say that what you need to focus on is, I'm feeling threatened right now, or acknowledging, like what Annette said. That helps. Cindy says breathing. For those of you who primarily perceive energies, and this is really what this is all about, through their body first, then the emotions, and then the mind, and get stuck either in mind or in emotion. All right? For those of you who feel the strongest impact onto your nervous system, it's breathing. It's breathing first, then feeling the emotion. In order to actually acknowledge something truthfully to yourself, you first have to be willing to feel into it. And then comes the accepting. So, Syria, you're right. But in order to do this, and to not get stuck in the judgment that our mind has about what we're experiencing, we need to calm down our nervous system first. And the way this goes, guys, is quite simple. It takes about a second and a half for you to form a conscious thought. And that's why many of you are in this constant thinking, because it goes so fast. I mean, there's a thinkingness in us that happens at all times, in much shorter, in a fraction of a second. But to form an opinion, to form a conscious thought, takes about a second and a half. To actually become fully aware of an emotion takes about 6 seconds. So from psychology we learn, or neuroscience really, is that in order for us to have focus, to be able to stay in focus and to know what it is that is going on in us, we need to breathe first, and preferably for like 6 seconds. Because it takes about 6 seconds to actually feel your emotion. And remember, the thought about your emotion will be there prior to you feeling it. You'll have the thought first. Yeah? And that thought will sound something like bad, 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 or nice, nice. Okay? It's not very sophisticated. Yeah, this is all, going on without us consciously having the thought. But after like a second and a half, we are kind of latching on to one of these thoughts, these simple thoughts that say, oh, this is a good feeling, or this is a bad feeling. And depending on how that then makes us feel, we can get stuck in that. So we need to breathe first to calm our body down enough to be able to feel the emotion. And then we can start thinking about it. But any thought or opinion formed before you can even truthfully tell what is going on, is just an opinion or something pre-programmed. Yeah? Like somebody says, hey, what you did over there, that was unusual. And if you're in a state of nervousness, you will immediately see this as a threat. Right? Immediately. And I'll look at you and I'm like, I thought it was really cool what you were saying. But you were already on a completely different train. Okay? This is because you couldn't actually discern at that moment. If you can discern, you can sit there and say, yeah, that was me. Mm-hmm. You can stay neutral. You can say, yeah, okay, what about it? And wait till the other person actually expresses. This is just one example that I just pulled that out of thin air, but this is how misunderstandings occur. Because if you allow this immediate judgment about what is going on, this like thought that says good or bad, to take a foothold in you, without having truly felt into what the situation is and what is actually being said, you are setting yourself up for misunderstandings, for assumptions, or for confusions, even within your own head. Yeah? How many times have you learned that through recontextualizing something that is happening to you, that it's actually a good thing? Has this ever happened to you? You look at what is happening to you and you're like, oh, this is so bad, right? And somebody comes along. I mean, energy coach, this is what I do all day long, right? Helping people to reframe, to recontextualize what is happening with them and say, well, that's so cool that this is happening, right? This is really helping you to get where you want to go, right? And the person says, I never looked at it this way, right? All I could focus on or all I could see was, the discomfort or whatever. Yeah? So the point being here, guys, if you want to know what you truly feel, if you want to know what you're truly sensing, you have to go within first and not immediately take all your body's reactions or your the emotions that come with it, or the stuff that you think about what you're feeling, okay, for granted. Yeah, this might not be what you're truly feeling. Okay, so just keep that in mind, guys. Okay, that you cannot fully trust in what you are sensing, feeling, and emoting until you are actually in your body. Okay? This is a discipline that we all need to form. All right? So when we go into meditation, and this is actually the main practice of meditation, we are focusing on our breath first. We're always focusing on arriving in our body first. I mean, there's obviously different kinds of meditation, but sacred self-healing meditations are the kind of meditations that are, sort of universal. It's not a specific a kind of meditation. Yeah, we're not going in there with a specific goal. We're just trying to really feel within, connect with our heart, and connect with our inner guidance. And if you want to do that, then you need to first arrive in your body. And second, you need to feel what you're feeling and consciously letting that go. Yeah, consciously let go what you're feeling. So that the tension, the opinion about what you're feeling and sensing can go. This is something that you have to decide based on where you're at. So within the sacred self-healing meditation practice, each of these meditations always starts with feeling within, breathing, relaxing the body, yeah, because that relaxes your nervous system. Sort of focusing on your breath and releasing the tension and also the worries and the thoughts and everything that you're holding, yeah, you're just releasing it. And then you can begin to see something new. Yeah. Then, of course, each of these 24 meditations, step meditations, open a new door, and you go into this door, and you are free to investigate. You're free to explore how you're sensing, feeling, and thinking about what is going on. So let's put this in action. This was a really, really cool energy talk that we had here, guys. This is, if you're asking me as an energy coach, probably the most common problem that people have. Not to be able to discern, not to be able to know what to focus on, all right, and getting stuck in certain places without being aware of where they're getting stuck. Yeah, this is the most common problem. And this is why the most universal or general recommendation from all coaches, therapists, psychologists is to consciously breathe first, because that calms your nervous system down enough for you to even be willing to connect with an emotion and to even, hear the thought that you're thinking. Before that, it's all autopilot. So when I talk about autopilot, I talk about that body, mind, emotion machine that you all have. Yeah. But that is not who you are. You are not your body, you're not your thoughts, and you're not your emotions. They're part of you, but that's not who you are. The part that you are, yeah, that spirit being, that soul being in your body, all right? The one that I'm talking to right now, the one that is talking to us, the one that we want to align to, the one that we want to contact, yeah, for inner guidance, for truth, for love, for healing, all right? That one first needs to come out of the box, okay? And to get that out of the box, we need to turn off the autopilot. The autopilot is the one that is front and center and doesn't even allow us to connect with it. This is why it's so difficult to trust sometimes, Linda. Because if you are constantly on autopilot somehow, right? Like so occupied through physical, emotional, and mental stuff, it's hard to believe in your inner self, in your true self. It's hard to feel that because it's constantly bombarded by your own sort of confusion. So remember, autopilot is always confusion because you're in your unconscious. Confusion, unconscious, autopilot, body, mind, all the same. It's that conglomerate between your body, your nervous system, your emotions, and your thoughts. These thoughts that you're thinking when you're on autopilot are not your conscious thoughts. Those are recordings or echoes or repeats. They're auto thoughts. A conscious thought is something completely different. A conscious thought is what we are doing here right now, what we are exercising when we do these kind of interactions, when we talk about things. Those are conscious thoughts. Those are the witness of our free thinking. We are thinking freely right now. Can you feel that? It's a different way of thinking. It's away from that box. Yeah? We're having a new thought, and that thought comes from within ourselves. And this is the goal of every meditation. Okay? So let's turn to the meditation part today. A little longer energy talk here. Yeah, some of it has to do with our, premiere and all that. So I'm going to mute my own microphone. Please, everybody, mute your microphone, lean back, close your eyes. I am starting Grace, step 5 of the Sacred Self-Healing course, and I will not have time afterwards, guys, so please forgive me. I have an ongoing transmission marathon going on here at transCODES, so I'll have to jump straight to an energy session afterwards. But that doesn't mean you guys can't continue discussing, all right? I gotta basically sit here with you and then run right away. Okay. Thank you for this wonderful talk.